Hello and welcome to another episode of the New World Comics Podcast. I'm Buck Berlin, owner-operator of this fine establishment. Not joined with us this week is Stephanie Cerny. She decided that she had better things to do than hang out with you.
You know, I don't blame her.
Yeah, but her replacement, I guess, I don't know, temporary fill-in.
Yes.
Josh Flowers is here.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, so when Josh Flowers is here, you know what that means.
Back issue special.
Oh my God, I love the back issue deep dives.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah. Trades, back issues, anything that is not current, although you are skirting the line. Yeah.
Current-ish.
Skirting the line a little bit on there. But
we want to get the people reading the new stuff, too.
well, yeah, but man, there's just so much of the back issues that everyone's just afraid to go near because
Don't be scared.
I'm just saying.
Jump right in.
Yeah, talk to one of us. Talk to anyone. If you're not in the Oklahoma area.
Yeah.
Talk to your local comic shop guys. They're there for a reason.
Yes.
Although if they bring out their phone like, let me look up the good comics. Like no,
Dumb.
leave.
Nope.
Yeah,
Get out of there.
Get out of there. Just saying. I mean, unless it's like a niche comic, if you're like, hey, what's the best, run on Sonic or RT?
It's like Flaming Carrot. What is that?
I love Flaming Carrot. You shut your mouth.
I like Flaming Carrot too. But it's...
Anyway, I want to always make sure that we talk about the awesomeness that came before.
Of course.
Because there's a lot of these that some people will come in like, man, it'd be really awesome if this ever happened in comics. Or like, it did happen in comics. Or around the time that Dr. Doom did win. Things like that. I
love me some Secret Wars.
Yeah, that's what this is all about.
Yes.
So
we in it for the love of the comics.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because there's so many great things.
Yes.
Looking at this, most of this is newer comics, which I try to break it up. Mm-hmm. And I try not to just talk nothing but Fantastic Four and Legion.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our likes.
I'm just saying. Anytime I have someone read it, they love it too. Yeah. So they understand.
I mean, the Hickman FF is just greatness in paper form.
Or the Kirby Lee FF is greatness. The John Byrne FF is greatness. The Walt Simonson FF is greatness. The Wade FF is
yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's there.
Yeah, although there for a while it was like Mark Wade and like 20 other people.
Yeah.
But there's some great runs on Fantastic Four.
Sure are.
So I guess
so many glorious first appearances in that book.
I guess since we're there already, we'll jump in with my pick this week.
Yes.
Or I guess this back issue special. Mm-hmm. What I want to talk about. So I've read every Fantastic Four issue. I own every Fantastic Four issue. I would like to say that gives me the clout to recommend Fantastic Four issues.
All right.
And the great ones. Because there are some pretty good ones. There's some that are less good, and we love them nonetheless.
We don't pick favorites.
Even if their brothers and sisters went on and became successful, great comic books. And
they're still part of the family. We still welcome them.
Has the title and number right on the cover.
Into our home, and they have a bed to sleep in.
To sleep in, yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk about Fantastic Four Unthinkable.
What is wrong with her eyes?
Yeah, so that's Valeria. She was new. Yeah. So Dr. Doom decides that he is sick and tired of putting up with the Fantastic Four, and he decides that it's time to end them now, and he wants to hurt Reed Richards like he's never been hurt before.
Steal his pocket protector.
Well, he goes after the family.
Okay.
So he goes to see these demons, and he says, hey, I want to win. Like, let's do this.
I hope this is going where I think it's going.
So the demons say, dude, you have whatever power you need. We can help and do whatever. Mm-hmm. They say, all right, well, here's what you have to do. And he has to make his new armor out of the skin of his dead mother, which, if you read your Dr. Doom stuff, like,
all right, that got dark.
He loved his mom so much. Like, cherish. So like this is a big deal. Like when Doctor Strange became Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
There's that special where Doctor Strange had to save his mom's soul from hell.
I remember that one.
Yeah. So like he had to like dig up the body and like let's magic up some armor out of her flesh. So that's awful and horrific. So Doom magics it up because he's like, all right, Richard's got technology on me. Like I have to,
But I got that magic.
Yeah. So he's like, all right, let's learn magic. Let's relearn magic. Let's learn magic. Let's get more magic going than ever.
Enter David Blaine.
So he's straight up kills people. Like horrific, awful things happen. He steals the kids. I think that he kills Ben in it. Like I need to go back and I'm trying to go back and reread it, but like awful things happen to everyone.
Okay.
Nothing's okay. You're like, oh god. So
all right.
Reed goes to Doctor Strange. He says, he's got my family. I don't know what I'm doing. Teach me magic. Right?
Oh, that's fun.
So yeah, Doctor Strange is like, buddy, I can tell you what to do, but you don't believe in magic, so it's not going to work.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I mean, by the fiery hearts of Hogarth,
The hoary host of Hogarth.
that's the one. Yeah.
Hogarth.
Yeah, by the crimson bands of Sidorak. Only works so well if you have the inflection and you have the knowledge pertaining to it.
Yes.
But you can say these things and wave your hands. It doesn't matter, but you have to like put yourself into it and give your everything.
Oh.
That's how they explained that magic worked.
I see.
It was, he was like, oh, so it's like a conduit thing. He was like, kind of.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
Whatever helps
So
you.
he taught him a few little basic spells, and of course,
Leviosa.
gets defeated. So then once Doom wins, well, let's just say Doom isn't the best at saying thanks. So some other bad stuff happens.
Ooh.
And let's just say it changed the Fantastic Four for a pretty long time. And I mean, I'm not a proponent for a darker Fantastic Four storyline, but this went to some really real places, and things happened, and
the demons extract a terrible toll for their gifts.
things get explained and investigated that you wouldn't expect. So yeah, Fantastic Four. It's starts in volume 3, but they do the legacy numbering and end up back in into volume 1. Mm-hmm. So it's issue 68, 69, 70, and then 500.
Okay.
Because 71 would have been their 500th issue.
Yeah.
Had they not canceled it for the Heroes Reborn, and then the Heroes Return is the series that this is from.
I see.
So, which, if you're looking for great Fantastic Four of this era, start on issue 35. Mm-hmm. Or as I say, anytime you see Diablo, buy the issue. He is absolutely one of the worst villains in all of comics. Mm-hmm. Every story that he's in is a great story. Like, there's not a bad Diablo story.
Yeah. I was thinking you were going to go with the little girl that all the little demons are her best friend. And she's like friends with Franklin. I can't think of her name, but Bronson was telling me all about this the other day.
Oh man, I think I'll save that for the next one of these. Yeah,
very good.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's good. See, that's the thing. There's so many of these things.
Yeah, he was telling me about that. Like, that's Fantastic Four. What?
Yeah.
All right. We'll jump right on into that.
Yeah, this is pretty great. So, what do you have?
But speaking of pretty great, from time to time you get somebody that walks into the store and says, I've read some good Batman stories, but what kind of good Superman stories are there out there?
Which so many people are like, there aren't any.
They are terrible liars.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, Superman has some of the best stories ever, and it depends on what kind of a comic reader that you are. Mm-hmm. It depends on what Superman stories to read, because that's like saying, hey, what kind of food is there? And they're like, oh, there's like microwavable pork rinds,
Yeah.
You're going to have a different view of, I don't know, steak.
If it was good enough for
You
Neil
know?
Armstrong, it was good enough for me. But anyway,
Yeah.
the Alan Moore did some really great DC stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
And one of those stories was Superman for the Man Who Has Everything.
Yeah, that was the annual.
Yep. Annual number 11, I believe.
Yeah.
That he did with Dave Gibbon, the Watchmen crew back together again.
Yeah.
And the book starts out with Batman and Robin, Jason Todd. So
Yes.
this is that era, getting together with Wonder Woman at the Fortress of Solitude to bring presents to Superman. And it's, what do you get the man that has everything? And they're just kind of talking back and forth about, man, it's hard to find gifts for this guy. I mean, what did you get him? Oh, well, I had this special rose bred just by these scientists that I'm hoping that he doesn't have. And Wonder Woman's like, I got the bottled city of Candor done and like diamond by the jewel smiths at Themyscira. I think he's going to really like it. And they walk into the fortress that's wide open, and they see Superman just kind of standing almost comatose with this weird mutant-looking flower parasite thing attached to his chest.
Yeah.
That turns out is called a Black Mercy. Now, what a Black Mercy does when it attaches itself to you is that it finds the thing in your brain that gives you the most happiness. It tries to find that thing that you desperately want in your life that makes you content, gives you happiness.
Yeah. So you're just stuck living your best reality.
Yes. And it's telling a dual story with Superman and his perfect world and his dream world back on Krypton, and then what's happening in reality.
Yeah.
So Superman, he's happy, he's back on Krypton, he's got the wife and the kids, and everything's going great. What's happening in reality is that this Black Mercy was a gift from Mongol.
Yes.
And now Mongol takes this opportunity with Superman out of the picture to start laying into the members of the Justice League that were there. So Wonder Woman starts bearing the brunt of the Mongol assault, and Batman and Robin are trying to furiously get this thing off Superman's chest because this is something that's way, way out of their league.
Yeah.
And a cool thing that Moore does with the story is it starts out in Krypton and everything's really bright and happy and Superman's getting along. And as he slowly starts being pulled away from his dream world, things start getting more chaotic in Krypton.
Yeah.
Like his father, Jor-El, hooks up with this weird cult of Ra, which is the god of Krypton, and there starts being this sectarian violence that's happening on Krypton. Kara gets beat up by a bunch of anti-Jor-El mob because they blame him for a lot of stuff that happened in the past.
Yeah.
And Superman, everything is just kind of spiraling out of control in the dream world, and he gradually comes to realize that none of this is real.
Yeah.
And it's when they get the Black Mercy off of his chest that he just wakes up just absolutely furious, because the last thing that he sees before they bring him back is his son fading away from him.
Which is as real as he could ever believe it to be. To him, that's real.
It's like, you gave me this beautiful thing, and it turned out to be nothing. It was fake. And Superman just absolutely unloads on Mongol.
Oh man, yeah.
And it's a big, huge brawl, and Robin, of all people, says, you know what? I got this great idea. So he gets these big, massive gloves that Mongol had used to control the Black Mercy, and he gets it and he throws it at Mongol, and it ends up attaching himself to his chest. And then, hey, villain subdued, and the perfect dream state of Mongol is it's as dark and horrible as you could possibly want it to be.
You'll have to.
You'll have to read it and find out. But the Alan Moore Superman stuff, because one of your favorite movies.
Which actually that was one of the ones that I was going to bring up was essentially the final issue to the Silver Age.
Yeah. Yep, sure was.
Yeah, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow? Which, man,
Yeah.
it's a really interesting story because Crisis had just happened, and we were getting ready for the big Superman reboot, and they try to figure out, all right, well, what are we going to do? They're trying to get Siegel and Schuster to do one last Superman story, and there was something going on, legally speaking, at the time that DC couldn't use them. So they're like, how about Alan Moore? We have Alan Moore. Which, if you don't have Siegel and Schuster, I think Alan Moore is a great...
I mean, that's it's not a bad substitute.
Yeah, that's... yeah.
Get in there, kid.
Yeah. I think he had it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it starts off with, everyone that you would expect to see in the old Silver Age crew, but everyone starts going more harsh. Like Toyman and Trickster, I think it show up, and they end up killing a lot of people in the news station, and they out Superman's identity to the world. So there's no more Clark Kent, because at the time he had stopped being just a reporter, and he becomes like a news desk anchor. He had risen through the ranks, and he was a star reporter and that kind of thing. So all that happened on live TV. Metallo sends an army of Metallos out to fight everyone. Starts killing a whole bunch of people that way. Kryptonite Man comes to kill Superman, and Krypto has to like bite his neck out to save everyone. Yeah. So then Krypto dies saving Superman, and it's just this the Legion show up, and Supergirl shows up from the past. They're like, "Hey, we're just stopping by to say hey," and everyone's crying, and he was like, "Oh, this is when I die." Yeah, like he figures it out. It was like, whew, all right, well, how does Superman take this on? Which, this is the can juggle planets Superman,
right?
Just tightens the belt and says, "All right, let's do this.
Let's do this thing."
Yeah. So Brainiac takes over a dead Lex Luthor who had his neck snapped. And it's like, well, I'll use your mind, and we can kind of join forces here.
Yeah.
So awfulness happens there, and then you find out that a lot of this is happening because of Mixia Spitlick, which is just showing it's kind of the meta way that Alan Moore writes that this whole story is saying, hey, here's what we had, this wonderful, perfect thing that is getting harshly brought up to modern day standards.
Yeah.
And look at what you're losing. Which everyone thinks, oh, wow, this is riveting stuff. But it's that, man, this is also horrific and violent and,
Yeah.
And then, of course, Superman does a thing that he vowed he could never do. So then he seriously has to stop being Superman. And then the story ends in the most Silver Agey, classic Superman way.
They play a baseball game.
No, that's the X-Men. No, it's wonderful. It's charming, and it catches you up with everything that was going on.
Yeah.
It's honestly one of the best Superman stories.
One last little addendum on For the Man That Has Everything. Justice League Unlimited did an amazing adaptation of that.
Yeah.
I think it was the first episode.
It was second or third.
Yeah.
First one was them recruiting Green Arrow.
But they did such an incredible job of showing that transition from dream to reality, and just the absolute fury that resulted from that.
Yeah, and breaking down so Warren Ellis is the one who adapted it, I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Or it's him or J.D. James DeMatteis.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the two. Like a classic comic veteran.
Yes.
Came in and stepped up to the plate. So.
I'm glad they did that on those animated shows.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I mean, it just made that story reach a wider audience.
So if you have the DC streaming service, jump all over that business.
Or if you own the DVDs, or I don't know. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes.
So, what else do you have?
Oh, let's see.
I know where I'm going next.
Where are you going next?
I'm gonna go JSA.
You know, go a little JSA.
Yeah, just saw.
I will go.
How about you go that, since we were talking Warren Ellis?
Of course.
Yeah.
So what's currently going on in the Marvel Universe is Absolute Carnage, the big crossover thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
The wild and wacky Donny Cates.
Yeah.
My personal favorite Carnage story is one done by Warren Ellis and Kyle Hotz.
Yeah.
Called Carnage Mind Bomb. Now, for those of you that remember the 90s, there was this little movie called The Cell with Jennifer Lopez and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Which, I mean, that movie's way better than it had any right to be.
Yes, it is. This comic kind of takes that story and puts it back into the Marvel Universe, where they have Cletus Cassidy, prisoner at a big, super high security federal penitentiary. And they bring in this psychiatrist that's going to finally get to the bottom of what makes Cletus Cassidy tick.
Yeah.
And what happens in this book, just like what happens in The Cell, is they get into the mind of a serial killer. What makes him tick? Why does he do what he does?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy actually goes into the cell with Carnage, and he immobilizes him with a sonic gun and a high dose of vitamin C. And
played the graduation song?
Absolutely. And he starts asking questions to Cletus like, why do you kill people? Why do you murder? And for Carnage, it's an aesthetic thing. Is each person that he kills is a work of art to him. Though I know this is going to get a little bit gory,
yeah.
But the way the cuts, the disembowelment, all that stuff is something that he plays out in his mind that he can do in a really artful, pleasing way.
Interesting.
And of course, things go terribly wrong, like they do.
Yeah.
And Carnage merges with this guy and just gives him the full Monty of his insanity. As that Carnage thinks that he's the only sane person in the world.
Yeah.
Is that everybody else is just absolutely in complete denial that this is an absolutely sick, twisted world, that man's true nature is just absolute crazy violence. And he's the only one that gets it.
Huh.
Absolutely the only one that gets it. And, well, I won't give away the whole thing. You got to read it. The this is a True Believers issue #1.
Yeah.
They came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
The only difference between this and then the actual issue is that the real issue is shiny and it's not $1.
Yeah.
But
very much so not $1
yes,
anymore.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, well, because I mean, we used to have tons of this thing, and you know, hey, everyone read it. It's Carnage and Warren Ellis, and they'd be like, well, whatever. But no, a lot of these things that we recommend now become the super high dollar like key books.
If you're just kind of looking to get into like, okay, what's Carnage about?
Yeah,
what is it?
This is your perfect.
I mean, this is the perfect.
It's read that or Maximum Carnage.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
Yeah.
Which is just, I remember collecting that as it came out.
Oh yeah.
Just off of whatever newsstand I could find. It's like, oh, I missed the issue. I gotta go back and find the other. It was just a who's who of Spidey villains at the time.
Yeah, well, and other heroes too. Like, hey, look, here's part of the New Warriors that showed up. Yeah,
Death Clock. I like Death Clock, or Deathlock.
Deathlock, yes.
Death Clock is an awesome metal band.
Very different, or show or
Mermaid.
All right, as promised, we're going JSA, baby. Woo! So Jeff Johns took over JSA. Early on in its run, then he started up. He reintroduced Hawkman and more or less fixed his backstory, which was thought to be just an unfixable mess.
Yeah.
and no, he made everything beautiful.
Yes.
So the Hawkman series started up, and it took off, and he says, "Oh man, since these are working, he decided early on that he was going to plant seeds for this big happening, if he could swing it." And then everything played out perfectly. So, early on into the run, Black Adam ends up joining the JSA, saying that, now that he doesn't have Hath set stuck in his brain, he is going to try to learn how to be a hero. And Captain Marvel joins the team with them, and they really expand the roster.
Yeah.
They essentially do their back issue deep dive.
Yes.
They find some members of Infinity Inc. that got away, or anyone who has other ties to the JSA. And this whole time, Black Adam is trying to get his country that he used to run back in the ancient times, Kondak, to be free from oppression and its awful leaders.
Yes.
So Black Adam puts together this super special, awesome team, and they go coup. They oust the powers that be, and then it's up to the JSA to take everyone down. And it's amazing. Like Hawkman, and who this guy that you see the Hawk type person.
Yes.
From like, oh, he's the Hawkman from Kingdom Come. Now he's Northwind from Infinity Inc. But lame looking dude who was raised by bird people and all sorts of who cares, and is now like this super awesome badass that's just like taking out everybody. Airwave, Atom Smasher gets in there. There's an archaeologist who thinks that he can control the Eclipso diamond.
Yeah.
Man, it's absolutely one of the best JSA stories of all time, if not best DC stories. And it's Hawkman, let's see, 23, 24, 25, and JSA 56 through 58.
Cool.
That's the whole thing.
Very nice.
Yes.
Love me some Hawkman.
Oh, man. And man, just that Hawkman, because he goes from being, just, why is that guy not wearing a shirt and why has he got wings, to, oh, that's Flying Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like, he's your John Byrne Wolverine. Like, the Wolverine that everyone remembers and loves.
Yeah.
That's him, but he can fly.
Yes.
Like, that Hawkman, if he doesn't show up with shards of glass sticking out of him and he's just covered in blood, then he just started the morning.
It wasn't a good day.
Yeah. So...
having a bad day, guys. No bloodshed this morning.
Speaking of bloodshed,
my absolute favorite Bullseye story is a two-issue story done by Charlie Houston.
Yeah.
Called Perfect Game. So we pick up in an undisclosed place with a guy that clearly loves himself some baseball, and he's just he's talking to the reader, giving him the ins and outs about a particular individual who lives in baseball infamy, and he's regaling the story of this guy, but he's also regaling the story of Bullseye, that he was absent for an entire year and nobody knew what happened to him. And it goes to Bullseye talking to his manager about his next hit. And the guy's giving him all these, drug dealer down in South America, huge bounty. Like, nope, next. Ex-billionaire wants his wife. Nope, pass. And he just passes on all these potential hits. He's like, well, I've got this low-tier thing with this baseball player. He's just kind of a nobody. He's like, tell me more about that. So Bullseye is kind of like the Daniel Day-Lewis of assassins. He's full method.
Yeah.
He devises new and more difficult ways to commit a hit just to challenge himself because it comes so naturally to him.
Right.
And that's entirely what this whole thing was about. So he said, I'm not just going to take this guy out at a distance. So what he decides to do is become a baseball player himself. And he devises this entire plan where he's going to learn to become a pitcher. But not just any pitcher, because Bullseye obviously can throw just perfect heat every single time.
Right.
And there might be other people that are watching him, other heroes that recognizes the style.
Yeah.
So he completely changes the way he walks, the way he talks, the way that he throws things. And he kind of goes like a Robert Redford natural sort of route, where he's this old phenom that just comes completely out of the blue, steps on a single-A diamond, and then just starts pitching heat. And people are like, who's this guy? Just completely coming out of the blue. And it shows him rise up through the ranks to the major leagues, that he gets on the team that he wants to be on. And this is where baseball nerds just kind of love it, is that he could have got on to just like any rinky-dink team that he wanted, but he had to get onto a National League team because the National League makes their pitchers bat. In the American League, you get assigned a designated hitter so the pitcher doesn't bat. So the only National League teams were available were ones that were already stacked on pitchers. So he might have devised a few ways, or a few top relievers, middle relievers met with certain unfortunate ends. Roster spaces were available, and he managed to slide into these teams. And he just constructs this masterpiece over a year and a half where he's going to meet this guy face to face, and he's just going to take him out with a high heat right to the nose. But when the game finally gets there, he and this guy are pitching a perfect game apiece. And Bullseye, who's always a failure of his own ego,
Yep.
always falls flat on his face, he cannot let this guy have a perfect game with him. So he just keeps prolonging it until
they have to.
well, I'll leave that to you all to look into.
Yeah.
But it's just a wonderful mishmash of one of my all-time favorite villains and just a really cool baseball story.
Which is weird that like comics don't have a lot more of those. Like you almost have to go to the, like we said earlier, you almost have to go to the X-Men comics for your good baseball stories.
Yeah. But man, yeah, Charlie Houston, perfect game, Bullseye. If you're a baseball kid or just a Daredevil guy,
or know a baseball kid,
yes, I think you would greatly, greatly enjoy it. It's a 2-issue run, and it's also collected in the Punisher and Bullseye trade, where you get the trial of Frank Castle, which is also a pretty good story itself, which read that to find out more.
Yes. So I'm going to keep with my Earth 2 theme, and I'm going to talk about Earth 2. So when the New 52 came about...
So good about Earth 2.
So I love JSA.
Yeah?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Love JSA. So when the New 52 came about, they said, well, no JSA. No JSA whatsoever. It's dead. It's an afterthought. The Justice League, that's the first time you've ever seen a group of heroes get together ever, because they were so well thought out and planned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So into the New 52, after some other titles failed, they announced that they were going to be doing an Earth 2 title.
Okay.
So you didn't get your real JSA, you got characters from Earth 2. Which, hey, all
right.
I'm on board.
Sure.
Yeah. So the first issue, all the stuff that premiered was like, hey, here's Wonder Woman, here's Superman, here's Batman. Like, they're not JSA. What's going on? Unless it's like Hippolyta Wonder Woman. and obviously they're all fighting parademons, so like Apocalypse is involved. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So you read issue 1, you're like, oh man, okay, so this is like where all the bad stuff's happening. Supergirl is, they're, part of the thing. Helena is Robin, is Bruce Wayne's daughter. And in the big heat of the battle, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman die.
All right.
Yeah, it's the uh-oh.
The Trinity has fallen.
Yeah. So Helena and Kara have to become Huntress and Power Girl, and then other heroes have to step up. Like Jay Garrick now becomes the Flash. Alan Scott now becomes Green Lantern. Hawk Girl gets part of the mix, and it's all these different ways and takes to go with these characters in a more modern fashion-ish, while still being pretty cool about everything that came before. And James Robinson typically plays the long game on things.
Yeah.
So he's creating this very involved sandbox. And this Earth 2 comic is really taken off. They're like, dude, we love what you're doing. We're actually going to give you a second title. He says, oh, cool. I'd love to write a second title. So they said, oh, no. There's going to be another Earth 2 title. You're not writing it. He says, well, if I'm not writing it, then I'm leaving. They said, okay, well, thanks for all you've done. In, wonderful DC fashion.
All right.
So,
sometimes it do be like that.
A rarity happened.
Yes.
So, the writer that they put on next improved upon the title. Now, don't get me wrong. I love James Robinson.
Yes.
Put him on a DC book. I will show you some greatness.
Yeah.
Put him on a Marvel book. I'll show you a thing that needs to get canceled in 12 issues.
I was going to say mediocrity, but oh man.
Well, listen, love the guy, but man, don't write Invaders, man. Write Winter Soldier. Just go back to DC.
Yeah.
They'll feed you. But no, like Tom Taylor got on the book, and
ooh, I like that guy.
Well, and he was writing that and like Wolverine at the time, and I didn't realize who he was until I was like, man, what? I'm getting like early '90s feels for these things. Like, why do I love this thing? All of a sudden, oh, it's this guy's writing. So I find everything that Tom Taylor's doing, and I start reading it. Earth 2, up until they got their second title, where it was a weekly thing that was undoing everything that was done, is absolutely one of the best things that came out of the New 52.
The Wonder Woman Azzarello Cliff Chang.
It has nothing to do with this.
I understand.
If you're talking
other New 52 greatness,
I would say of the New 52 greatness, there's Batman, just plain Batman.
Of
title.
course,
yeah.
Yep.
There's Wonder Woman. There's Justice League.
Yeah.
Like the regular, just plain Jane
Yep.
Justice League. It's Jeff Johns throughout the whole thing. That's really pretty innovative and pretty great. And then Earth 2. There's first volume of Aquaman is great, and then it tapers off quickly.
It does taper off pretty quick after that.
Yeah, I'd say you could stay through trade 3 or so and still be cool, and then after that, like you got to be a fan.
Yeah, the rebooted New 52 Shazam was the basis for the movie, though.
Yeah, but still, I prefer
classic Billy.
Classic, but I like what they did in the movie with his family. But you didn't because his stories in the New 52 stuff were just backup pages. You didn't really get to bond with his family. It's here's a whole bunch of kids. You better like them. Yeah. Whereas like in the movie, like, oh man, just all of them are great.
Absolutely love those kids.
All right. Let's see how we're doing. Pick two.
Pick two.
You got 2 things to talk about, then I got these 2 things to talk about. We'll get to the other stuff later.
Okay.
Because, of course, we're doing another back issue special
at
some point because there's a lot of back issues to be had.
Okay. I haven't done any independent books yet, so my last 2 will be indie titles.
Please pick the one that has a major motion picture. Please be the indie comic that has a major motion picture.
I don't know if they can. Well, they can do Luther Strode, but
I'm talking about your Hellboy.
I'm going to try to not nerd rage on the new iteration of Hellboy.
That's all right. I'll be here to water you down on
To
that.
poke and prod.
Well, here's the thing. So the newest
Yes.
Hellboy movie as of this recording,
Yeah.
the Dave Harbour and all them, isn't the worst thing I've seen.
Yeah.
So the beginning of it when he's in Mexico,
If they would have just done Hellboy in
that was
Mexico,
great. Oh,
it would have been great.
I think if you can't have a Ron Perlman, I think David Harbour is a great choice for a Hellboy.
He wasn't a bad look for Hellboy.
Yeah, I think his ridiculous teeth inhibited him greatly.
Yeah.
But outside of that, he's pretty good.
I just think they got the tone of that movie completely and totally wrong.
Yes.
It's like, what if the Resident Evil people made Hellboy? What would that look like? It would look like what we got. And some people may love that. May absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But hashtag not my Hellboy. I don't know who that guy was that was supposed to be Professor Broom. It's like, what if we took Al Swearingen and threw him in a Hellboy story?
Yeah.
How many times can he drop the F-bomb? The answer is a lot. Lobster Johnson was cool, though.
He was great.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really neat to see him in action.
Yes.
And then be part of the Thomas Hayden Church. Oh man.
Yeah, that's a pretty good choice for
Yeah.
the lobster.
And I mean, I wouldn't say that it's an unsalvageable wreck.
No.
I could see them doing a sequel that they fix a lot of the problems. Apparently, there were like 14 producers on.
There was some ridiculous amount of people.
Yeah, and like
Pulling it in like 10 different directions.
yeah.
It's
so-
amazing it made it all, from what I understand.
Right. So that being said, hopefully the next one has like, I don't know, 2 or 3 producers, or like one really good producer, and then like David Harbour's like, I need some of that cheddar. So like he's producer David Harbour now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, I would like to recommend the Hellboy Omnibus numero 3. You see, I'm bilingual.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I am.
That means 2 linguals.
That means I got both linguals, one for each of you. But it's Hellboy: The Wild Hunt Omnibus, Volume 3.
Yes.
And it's a collection of 3 different story arcs. It's Darkness Calls, The Wild Hunt, and The Storm and the Fury. And they all tell one big, massive, overarching story.
Yes.
And the movie really failed largely because they were trying to do the middle chapter,
Yeah.
and they really shortened a lot of the parts that really gave depth and a lot of meaning to the story. Like what they did to the Baba Yaga in the movie was just, oh my God.
Which it's funny because I mean Hellboy's never looked more like Hellboy.
Yeah.
Like they worked so hard to make sure that everything was like right off the page Mike Mignola.
Mm-hmm.
Like here's definitely the stag crown. Here's definitely yeah. Like that's I mean outside of covering up some of Baba Yaga, like that's Baba Yaga.
The look was good, but there again, the tone, the voice.
Oh yeah.
The actual, and they cut out Koschy the Deathless, which, oh man,
Yeah.
he's such a great character and Mike Mignola goes back and tells his origin story later on in a 6-issue miniseries that came out this last year, which you should also read.
Yes.
But this was the point when I like to call it continuity Hellboy, when it got away from doing just the little
Vignettes.
the little 1 or 2 or even like 15 panel stories.
Yeah.
And it got to telling like an actual story that had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
And they really found their stride with this, Mike Mignola and Duncan Fegredo, which Duncan Fegredo out Mignola's Mignola.
Whew. Yeah.
Man, it's so good.
I've loved his stuff ever since the Jay and Silent Bob comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where I first noticed him, and then I went and found some of his Vertigo stuff, and I've been a fan ever since. And then when they said that he'd be doing Hellboy, I was like, man, I'd love to see what he can do with Hellboy. And then no, it's not just his style. He's changing his style to look more like Mike stuff, and in some instances, outclasses the master.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's flooring how much he's changed for this.
And the relationship between Hellboy and Alice Monaghan is so damn touching.
Yes.
In this book, you really get to see the softer, tender side of Hellboy. You get to see the human side.
Yes.
And
it's not just the bottom of his hooves.
It isn't.
Anyway.
But anyway, and the movie completely cuts out Morgana Le Fay, which is so damn integral to the backstory of the entire thing.
No, man, it's cool. You just get a sword. Just out the sewer, man.
Just here.
Here's your sword.
Yeah.
Turns out you're King Arthur.
Yeah, you pull it out of a stone, and there you go.
Yeah, and it's got rules to it that don't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that movie really kind of failed its source material.
Yeah.
It's, unfortunately, we have another, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, all right, I know you've seen the movie. Ignore the movie. Read the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. Don't let that movie put you off like Judge Dredd put off people from reading Judge Dredd comics.
Just saying, if they watch the Carl Urban Dredd.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Throw all the money at the world at Carl Urban.
If we could have had the Mega City from the Stallone, where the bright happy crazy awful stuff happening there, and the Carl Urban Dredd, and mix the two, you would have had exactly the comic.
You would have had a pretty good Judge Dredd film.
Yeah, or man, that movie just needed some stupid color flashes here and there, and it would have been so ideal.
They got the crazy balls out outrageousness that is Mega City 1.
Yeah,
but
they're too focused on look how massive this cube of city is, where that's just part of the point.
And you never see Dredd without the helmet. You never see Dredd without the helmet. They even do a joke in one of the issues where, hey, here's Dredd's face. Censored.
Yeah.
Because the face of the law is the helmet and the uniform. It doesn't matter who's underneath the uniform. He is the law.
Yeah.
Literally, figuratively, metaphorically. That's who he is. And they absolutely miss that point in the original book.
Yeah.
Because
Even
Stallone,
the original movie.
Yeah, the original movie. That Stallone tried to be as campy as everyone else. Like, no, dude, you're the one that holds the line.
Yeah.
You're the dude that's serious all the time.
Yeah.
And I love Sly, Rocky forever. But, man, he bowled on that one.
Women weaken legs.
It is known.
All right. So, my second to last then. I think I'm going to go Green Lantern Corps.
All right.
So, pre-52 craziness. So, the Green Lantern Rebirth took off.
Yes.
Jeff Jones was like, hey, Kyle's great and all, but everyone wants Hal. And I was like, no! Hal killed everyone. He went crazy. Bad things happened.
Yeah.
Kyle, he, saved everyone. He, leave Kyle alone. Leave Brittany alone.
AD is cheering for you right now.
And then the, Jeff Jones stuff came along and I was like, damn it, it's good. Yeah, okay, fine. You made the weird yellow thing with the ring work. You made all this other stuff work. Okay, cool. We have the core back. All right, well, the rookies don't get their symbol yet. Okay, that's kind of awesome, too.
Sinestro is BA.
Yeah.
Totally intimidating.
Right. So all these cool things are happening.
Yes.
And then it's time to form the Green Lantern Corps again.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And it's amazing. So it's Patrick Gleason and Peter Tomasi.
I like those guys.
Yeah. So
of current Superman fame.
Previously on pre-Bendis Superman fame, where they introduced Jonathan, and it was amazing. And some of the best Superman of all time.
The best damn thing.
So,
but anyway.
Hadn't been a good Superman series like that since the 80s. Oh. So, anyway.
The Gettysburg story arc.
So, the Green Lantern Corps introduces you to some new recruits that you'll find out throughout the thing.
Yep.
Sinestro's daughter turns out to be one of the recruits because she's kind of awesome. There are these little one-off characters that you get to meet, which it's Green Lantern Corps is such a neat series because it's like reading a war comic in a super sci-fi setting.
Yeah.
Because everyone's on the same level playing field, but then again, they're not. Because essentially everyone's been given a huge gun. But whether or not you actually need the gun or how proficient you are with this gun determines your placement in the Corps. Like there's some of the guys that are just awesome enough that they barely use the ring, and then there's some people that are like super proficient with the ring and can match that level.
Yep.
Kind of thing. But like throughout the series you run into this character Bzzd. Like you had Chip. I love Chip. Or his replacement, because he did get hit by a yellow semi truck. So then Badge then takes his place. Yeah. Don't read Green Lantern Mosaic, it's terrible. Oh, it's really sad. Yeah. So, like Bzzd is a little fly.
Okay.
Green Lantern. And like in one of these, he sacrifices himself to save the everyone. And he's the tiniest Green Lantern. So,
remember me,
essentially. And then in DC at the time, they had the people from Adam Strange's people, Rand.
Yes.
Yeah, the Rands and the Thanagarians.
Yes.
Which on Thanagar, there's the lizard people and the hawk people.
Yes.
So. This was one of the lizard people. The Randians and Thanagarians hated each other. So what do? They take one of each and make them partners. And the whole time they're just fighting and hating each other. And then...
So it's a buddy cop movie.
Oh, God, it's the best. Because throughout the series, like, one of them loses their leg. So then the lizard dude's like, hey, I can regrow mine. Here, take mine. Yeah. So then you have this Randian walking around with lizard legs. Yeah. Pick up, anytime you see the Green Lantern Corps, pick up 3, 4, 5 of them. You're going to get a full story somewhere in the mix and at least one really, really good one shot. Yep. And then part of something else that you need to read. Because, oh my God, they're amazing.
Give me all that Kilowog.
Oh, man, you poozer. So, yeah, I can't recommend Green Lantern stuff enough. I need to have a Green Lantern episode, honestly.
Yeah.
In my depth and breadth of
talk about
knowledge.
The Sinestro Corps War.
Oh, my God, the Sinestro Corps. Oh, my God. Yeah, which I prefer over the Blackest Night.
Yes.
Because, like, the Sinestro Corps War, that's when you found out, like, oh, this is the dirty awfulness that we're playing with now.
Yep.
Like Crib and Arkillo. Oh my God, we won't even get into that tonight. Yeah. All right, what's your final pick?
My final pick, and I am so hurt that more people don't know about this.
Man, as I was reading that thing, every issue I was like, guys, this is the next great thing. This is the most violent thing I've ever read.
Yeah. The Strange Talent of Luther Strode. So for all the older folks watching, listening, etc., everybody remembers those Charles Atlas ads from all the old comics where you've got the dweeb walking around on the beach and he sees the girl and he's like, oh, I really wish I could be her boyfriend. And then the guy pushes him out, like, get out of the way, nerd.
Or kicks sand in his face.
That's right. And so he gets on the Charles Atlas plan to make himself a new and improved man.
Yeah, but he does it to the point where he gets superpowers.
Yeah. So Luther Strode is kind of he's your garden variety high school nerd. Very, very Peter Parker-esque.
Yeah.
He's got his snarky sidekick buddy. And something to keep in mind about Luther is that he is living in an apartment with his mother, who are trying to get away from an abusive father whose shadow kind of looms over their entire lives. So he has this real aversion to bullies and just really wants to do something so people won't hurt his mom, won't hurt him, and he really is passionate about becoming stronger.
Yeah.
And he gets this this letter in the mail, this manual called the Hercules Method.
Yes.
Which is a take on the old Charles Atlas ad. And he starts doing the method, and he starts developing these incredible powers. He gets super strong, super fast. He can see people's movements before they do it.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up beating up the school bully and becoming the hero of the school. He gets the girl he's super sweet on. He foils a convenience store robbery, but then he meets a guy called the librarian, and he gives him a very tough lesson on the origin of his power, that it's derived from an ancient murder cult that stretches all the way back to Cain, of Cain and Abel fame. And when Luther looks at the world, when he starts developing these powers more and more, he sees everyone as just sinew and bone.
Mm-hmm.
Because it strips away people's faces, their hair, their individual characteristics, and they just become meat for the grinder.
Yeah.
Essentially. And you get these very hard lessons that the librarian teaches Luther over this mini-series.
Yeah.
And it's like some, for all you anime people, it's like some Fist of the North Star stuff where he hits something and it explodes.
Yeah, there's a red spray. Yeah, it's horrifically violent without it being grotesque.
Yeah.
It's Treadmore's art was just the perfect fit of okay, so here's the cartoonish idea of this awful thing happening, but let's not have that awful thing take you out completely out of what narrative they're telling.
It's supposed to be shocking to see it.
Right.
But it's not like Avatar levels of exhibitionist violence.
Right.
It's maybe slightly for the sake of being wild and crazy.
Yes.
But to me, it doesn't feel like it was too much.
Right. It tasteful over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But it's a really great story. I mean, it's even the Peter Parker story. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Is that even though he gains these incredible powers, he loses so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, I mean, if we want to go back to the Alan Moore Superman thing, whenever you grow up and you find out about life and the suffering therein, you grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
And you understand a little bit more about how the way the world really works.
Yep.
And it kind of strips away your innocence a little bit. But I would highly, highly recommend anybody to just pick up The Strange Talent of Luther Strode. It's a really fantastic book.
Yes. And with my final pick, it's a book that I recommend often.
Yes.
And honestly, right now, there's 2 ways to get it. It's your back issues or your super highfalutin hardcover.
Yes.
So Marvel's Earth X, in my opinion, is probably the most perfect Marvel story told.
It's pretty excellent.
Yeah. It's done by Jim Kruger and Alex Ross, drawn by Jean-Paul Leon. That's how you have to say his name. Yeah. So they sat down and made it look like Stan and Jack planned out everything in the Marvel Universe.
Mm-hmm.
It explains how the Asgardians get their powers, that they're aliens, and there's a belief system that they can harness that energy from. And the more you believe in the Asgardians, the stronger they are. The less you believe in them, the weaker they are. That kind of thing.
They're like Santa Claus.
Yeah. So they explain that Galactus isn't this evil being. Mm-hmm. He's going around killing celestial eggs. And you think, what? What do you mean killing celestial eggs? Mm-hmm. Every planet that has any kind of super-powered populace turns out is a celestial egg. the big overbearing things that everyone's about to find out in the Marvel movies.
Yep.
Yeah. So Galactus is going around and essentially is keeping the playing field even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the superpowered things are the egg's defense. Where like the Skrull homeworld, all of their superpowers evolved into everyone having kind of the same powers, that kind of stuff. They said that if going on long enough, then that's kind of what happens is everyone gets the same power.
Yeah.
Like the Kree ended up with the same power because they lasted long enough. And Earth was just kind of this weird microcosm that nothing quite fit and made sense, but they know that, all these other things happen. Like, that's why people didn't die with all the radiation involvement. Because it was written in our DNA that wouldn't happen because of this, need to protect the Celestial.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
There is a lot of reading.
Yeah,
in that book.
There is, and it's breaking down everything perfectly. Like the Terrigen mist that transforms the Inhumans gets unleashed upon the world, and unlike this really terrible X-Men storyline where it ended up killing mutants, it transforms everyone into superpowered people. So then that takes a lot of the heroics out of some of the superheroes. Like they're like, well, if I'm not special anymore, why do I matter? And it's some of them reconciling that, some of them going, okay, well, now I can be part of society because now, like Spider-Man's like, okay, well, cool. Now everyone has power.
Yeah.
We can rest some of the responsibility, that kind of stuff. And it makes this beautiful overarching story that tells you the hows and whys of the Marvel Universe that you've never known before. What a great character Black Bolt is. The shocking conclusion to who Galactus is. I honestly cannot recommend Earth X enough, or loud enough, or hard enough, or I don't know, fast enough. To me, it's the perfect Marvel book, and if you all haven't read it, you're doing yourselves a disservice.
Oh yes.
So, oh man, look at all the stuff we didn't get to.
Next time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have another back issue deep dive sooner rather than later.
Excellent.
Yeah. So thank you all for sticking with us this week, and we'll definitely be back with more of these. Catch you next time. Peace.